Hey Stampers! It is What She Makin' Wednesday, and today we're gonna make a easy, simple birthday card using our framed Florets stamp set and our deckled edges dies. So let's get started. So this is our framed Florets stamp set that we'll be using, and I'll just put that aside. We are going to start with some of our dies. So these are our deckled edges dies. And so it's going to make this nice kind of deckled edge border. So I'm going to actually cut that with you today. So let me bring in our Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. And so it comes with some plates. So we're going to use those. We've got our basic white and our deckled edge. So we're gonna flip this over. We're gonna put it right on top, and you're gonna see me just put this in between the cutting plates, like a little sandwich there. And then we're just gonna turn our handle here, and then we're just gonna run it right through. And any popping, that's normal. Move that right out of the way. And then we take our plates apart, and voila, we have our die. And now we have two pieces. We have with this easy deckled edge that it just ran right through. I love our die cutting machine. I think it makes everything look so professional. So we are going to now do some stamping. So let me bring in some grid paper here. And this is just our full-size sheet that I folded in half. Put our basic white there. And then we're going to do some stamping. So first up, we're going to use our Memento black ink because we're going to be coloring today with some of our blender pens. And so whenever we want to color with our blender pens, we're going to use our Memento black ink. So we'll start with that. And we're going to stamp our sentiment first today. This is our wishes for a beautiful birthday. There we go. Then we're going to stamp. So both of these are from that framed Florets. So our wishes for a beautiful birthday, and we're going to use this flower here. We're also going to stamp that in our Memento black. We'll just ink it up real good there. We're going to stamp this just right next to that. Okay. Close this up. And then we are going to color with our blending pens. So I love our blending pens because they're different than regular markers. Like if you colored with regular markers, you would see all kind of lines in there. But because they're alcohol markers, they blend everything so nicely. So we're going to start with our Old Olive. And so when you get the blending pens, they come in a set of two. So both of them are Old Olive. One is light Old Olive and one is dark Old Olive. So we're going to start with the light. And we're just going to color in our leaves here. It doesn't have to be perfect. We're just laying down some color first. Okay. Then we're going to go in with our dark, and it's got two ends. So there is a pointed end and a brush end. I like to use the brush end. And anywhere that the artist of Stampin' Up, who created our stamp sets, kind of put some accents, that's where I go in with the dark. Sometimes on the stems. There we go. And then you can go right back in with the light again, just to kind of go over it. You can go outside the lines a bit. You can leave a little bit white. It doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, so now let's do our flowers. And we're gonna use our Daffodil Delight, the light and the dark, that's the set. And we'll start with the light. Okay, and then we'll go in with our dark, kind of see anywhere that Stampin' Up! Has put those little accent marks. Okay, and then I like to go back over with our light. It just kind of blends everything together. So it doesn't look like just a flat image, gives it some depth. Okay, and then we're gonna go in with some pumpkin pie for the middle here. And I like to kind of bring pumpkin pie up just a tad. Then we'll go in again with the dark, just a little bit. And then you can see how that image doesn't look flat, right? It's got some depth to it. It's so pretty. I love our Stampin' Blends markers. Okay, so now we're gonna go with our Old Olive stamp pad here. And we're gonna do some stamping. So we're gonna grab our leaves here. I'm gonna tap that into Old Olive, and we're gonna do something called stamping off. So whenever you want to stamp something, but maybe you like the Old Olive, but you'd like it just a touch lighter, we stamp off. So we'll stamp on the grid paper, and then we will stamp. So see how it's a much lighter image once we've stamped it off first. So we're gonna do this just a couple of times, kind of around our sentiment here. There we go. So now you can see we have kind of this fun little border around our sentiment. And then I've got a piece of Old Olive paper here, and we're gonna take our Old Olive and we're gonna do some tone on tone for some background here. So we're just gonna take our same leaves, our same Old Olive. This time we're not gonna stamp off, we're just gonna stamp directly. And we're just gonna kind of do a fun border kind of all the way around here. So this is Old Olive paper, and we're stamping tone on tone with some Old Olive ink. Okay, let me close up our Old Olive here. And then you can see we've got our border, our tone on tone border there. Okay, so now let's put this card together. So I am using today some of our note cards. So I love our note card sets because they come with envelopes. They are already pre-cut and pre-scored, and you get 20 of them in a set. So that's what we're using today. And so we're gonna take our, get our paper here out of the way. Got our note card. We're gonna lay it flat here for a second. And we're gonna glue with my favorite liquid green glue here. We're just gonna put a little bit of this just kind of right on the back there. And we're gonna glue this just right in the middle of our note card. And the green glue is great because it gives you a little bit of wiggle room. So you can lay it on and kind of adjust it if need be. So we've got that glued as our background there. Then we're gonna take some Stampin' Dimensionals, and we're gonna pop this up, give it a little bit of dimension here. So we're gonna flip that over, and we're just gonna put our Stampin' Dimensionals in each corner. I always like to put them in the middle as well so it doesn't sink in the middle. They're so easy to pull the backings off of these. Okay, now we're just gonna stick this right in the middle here. There we go. And so now we've got a bit of dimension. And so you can still see our background through there that we did with the leaves. It just gives you that bit of dimension. And then I always say everything's better with some bling. So we're gonna finish this off with our champagne rhinestone basic jewels. These are on the retired list. So is our framed florets, but both of these are still available. I checked right before I did this video. So they're both still available on the last chance list. So you wanna get those quick before they're gone. I love these sets and I love my champagne jewels. We'll just put these there. And I am using your take your pick tool. I think it makes getting our gems super easy, right? There's 4 ends to it, and there's a sticky putty end that you can also use to pick them up, or you can use the pointed end and kind of put them on there as well. So that is our wishes for a beautiful birthday framed florets card. How easy, right? And beautiful, gives it that added dimension. So that is our What's She Making Wednesday for today.